recognize the member for Orleans.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. My question's for the Premier. Madam Speaker, what the Premier is proposing by electing judges isn't just reckless, it's exactly what we've come to expect from this government. Cash for access decision-making, political overreach, and now an open invitation to influence our courts. This has been a long time coming. Remember, the Premier appointed his former deputy, a gun lobbyist, to chair the Judicial Appointments Advisory Committee. Now, we don't need American-style chaos in our system. We don't need a justice system that looks like Donald Trump's, where loyalty matters more than the rule of law. The Premier said he would stand up to Donald Trump, not become a maple syrup version of him. So will the Premier admit that this isn't just a rant, that this is a roadmap, and that he's willing to trade judicial independence for political control over our courts?
Back to the Attorney General. The Leader of the Third Party will come to order.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And for those that weren't here, before 2018 or weren't necessarily involved in politics, I cannot believe that the Liberals even say the words cash for access, Madam Speaker. That is unbelievable. Madam Speaker, in a supplementary, I expect to hear about gas plants, Madam Speaker. But, Madam Speaker, it could be upside-down bridges. It could be any number of things, but let's get back to basics. Sure. We were elected to put boots on the ground, to have consequences for actions, to make sure that when people are on bail, they do what they're supposed to do in the places they're supposed to be. When somebody uses a gun in a crime, that they are held to account, Madam Speaker. So we're going beyond that. We're setting up it's already set up, a specialized prosecution team for cybercrime, a first in Canada, Madam Speaker. We're doing so many things to combat crime, and I wish the opposition would stand with us.
Before we continue, I do not want to hear the term cash for access in this chamber. I recognize the member for Orleans.
Well, thank you, Madam Speaker. They were elected to put Ontario first, not to transform into Maple Megas right in front of us. This isn't just a bad week for the Premier, it's a pattern. First, he stacked the Appointments Committee with his political allies. Now he's floating American-style judicial elections, the kind of elections that turn courtrooms into campaign stops and judges into fundraisers, Madam Speaker. Let's be clear, this isn't reform, it is a power grab. If the Premier thinks that he can quietly politicize our courts while Ontarians aren't watching, he's desperately mistaken. We don't elect judges in Canada for a reason, because justice should be blind, Madam Speaker, not driven by political ideology or campaign donations. So, Madam Speaker, will the Premier come clean and just tell this House whether he still believes in judicial independence or not?
Back to the Attorney General.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Now, members of their caucus want to defund the police, so that's a non-starter for us, Madam Speaker. It's a non-starter. Now, Madam Speaker, they don't want criminals behind bars, Madam Speaker. So, Madam Speaker, it's very difficult to have a rational conversation when their premise is wrong.
Member for Orleans will come to order.
Clearly push the button, Madam Speaker. Clearly push the button. But so they want us to name things and one thing of this and one thing of that, Madam Speaker. I would challenge the member opposite to name one judge that we have appointed that he thinks is not right.
Question.